Hi, this is Ian Wright, and welcome to the Dynamics of Stillness. I'm just going to do this little introduction to why I wrote the book and who it's for and who may benefit from it, and just talk a little bit about it so you get an understanding of where it's coming from. The book is based really on a course that I started running about 10, 12 years ago called the Dynamics of Stillness, and it was a weekend course where I taught people from a wide variety of different backgrounds, from teachers, artists, writers, journalists. There was even an embalmer on the first course. Some practices which come from my work as an osteopath. I'm an osteopath, and I've been teaching osteopaths pediatrics for the last 25 years all over, and working in practice. And we're teaching a lot of work which is to do with sensory development for osteopaths so they can learn to feel. And on this course was designed around the background of my osteopathy, but also a lifelong study of Taoist and Buddhist practices, and a great love of nature and a great wish to reconnect to nature. So from all of those threads really was born this course, which was normally a residential 3-day course. And it started with this idea of refinding neutral. We live in an age of anxiety. The children who I spend a lot of time in my practice treating over the last 20 years, they got younger and younger and younger when they present to me with symptoms of anxiety. We're in a sensory overload world, which we all know very well, but the children when they're young come from this spontaneous place of neutral, this place of being totally in the moment, not thinking about the future, not planning, not processing the past, not thinking, they're being. And the starting point is specific practices to return us to neutral, to find this neutral place where we take our brain out of gear completely, so we can start any meditative practice. If we don't start from a place of neutral, we'll just not really be effective at all. So the second thread of this course is to do with reconnecting with nature. So we learn practices where we reconnect with these natural rhythms and tides in nature. I'm not talking sea tides, I'm talking these fluid tides. The Bushmen of the Kalahari would talk about the story on the wind, this wind that connected them with each other and to nature, and how when they lost that connection to this wind, they couldn't cope very well. Very, very difficult to cope, especially when they were in cities. So this work is to do with refinding this natural connection, quietness in ourselves, so we can reconnect with nature. And to me, it's very important because in some ways we have to reconnect with nature in order to save it. We've lost our connection. We are very separate from nature. We don't feel, as man, part of nature anymore. And that's why we're not looking after her. And so, for me, it's very important to reconnect to save nature, really. So, part of this journey is to do with kind of untangling our senses. Our senses are in this deep overload. And they almost need a sense of rewilding. Of course, through nature, but also decluttering this kind of sensory overload stroke block, and that's an important part of this work. A lot of the practices, the 36 practices, are based on sensory meditations. They're to do with the senses and connecting the senses up to develop this sense of kind of felt sense, this feeling sense where we feel our way through things. Another important element is refinding our health, refinding our attunement to our sense of health, this sense of aliveness that's in every cell in our bodies, this sense of potency and expression, which we've lost our sense of connection to. We are much more attuned into what feels blocked, what feels diseased or unhappy in our bodies. And if we refine this attention towards this aliveness, which is there in every cell in our body. It's the beginning of a journey towards self-healing. And to me, it's very, very important. Another part of this dynamics of stillness, is attuning ourselves again to stillness. So underneath all the noise, underneath all of the disquiet, there is stillness. And this stillness has a great potency, a great power. And it's there, it's in every cell of our bodies. It is us, and it is everything. And it was there before we came, and it will be there forever afterwards. And we've lost our attunement to this stillness. And if we develop a relationship to stillness, it's incredibly healing, it can be, and incredibly calming, and takes us to a place of peace and wholeness, I would suppose. So the book, in some ways, was written, it's taken 5 years to write, as a way of expressing some of these ideas to a wider audience, because there's only small groups of 10, 12 people who come on these courses. But actually I was looking at ways to try and kind of spread this kind of work a little bit more, so more people can access it if they want to. So that's why I wrote the book, and its release date is October the 3rd, 2019, and it's available through all the usual outlets of books. And it's a beautiful book, and I'm really happy with it. And it's really it's based on these 36 practices which build on each other. Each practice builds on the last. So we start to develop an actual practice. And for me, we need, all of us, from quite young to very old people, need a practice, a way of coming home to ourselves, of finding our neutral, coming to a place of quiet, a place of stillness, a place of connection to ourselves and our health. And from that place, we can act in the world as opposed to react to the world. And in developing a practice and finding our own practice, I think it's a really important way to start this and to develop a deeper relationship with ourselves. So really, this thread is developing connection to ourselves, redeveloping, reconnecting to nature, reconnecting to stillness, reconnecting to our health. I hope you like the book, and if you want more information, thedynamicsofstillness.com is the website. I've done over 200 podcasts on all sorts of subjects around health and well-being, and very specific stuff as well. And also an introduction, a 10-part introduction to meditation, which is all free on the website. They're just downloadable podcasts of me chatting. The website also has my upcoming book, the Anxiety Breaks, which will be coming out in 2020, and forthcoming things and online courses where I can walk you through these techniques in a more connecting way, so that we can kind of experience them together as much as we can. And there are actual courses, residential courses, weekend courses, which and day courses as well, which is like an introduction to this work. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the website, and I hope you enjoy the book, and I wish you well.